Tell me not here, it needs not saying, by A. Housman, 1859 to 1936. Tell me not here, it needs not saying, what tune the enchantress plays in aftermaths of soft September, or under blanching May. For she and I were long acquainted, and I knew all her way. On russet floors by waters idle, the pine lets fall its cone. The cuckoo shouts all day at nothing, in leafy dells alone. And travellers' joy beguiles in autumn hearts that have lost their own. On acres of the seeded grasses, the changing burnish heaves, or marshalled under moons of harvest, stand still all night in sheaves. Or beeches strip in storms for winter, and stain the wind with leaves. Possess, as I possessed a season, the countries I resign, where over elmy plains the highway would mount the hills and shine, and full of shade the pillared forest would murmur and be mine. For nature, heartless, witless nature, will neither care nor know what strangers' feet may find the meadow, and trespass there and go, nor ask amid the dews of morning if they are mine or no. Okay, this is a poem by A. Housman. He was born in Bromgrove in Worcestershire. I think he failed his exams at university at St. John's College, Oxford. He was a classicist, a classical scholar. He was an expert, and probably still is one of the leading experts, on classical Greek and Roman literature and Latin and ancient Greek. He later was a professor of Latin at the University of Cambridge. So what's this poem about? Well, this poem is about nature. It's about the position of man in nature. It's the relationship between nature and man, and he's not got this view of wonderful nature that looks after us. He's saying that nature is there, nature is beautiful, that nature is something that belongs to us, that we enjoy nature, is something that is there for us. However, that nature doesn't really care what happens to us. That nature is not this wonderful muse that looks after all of the creatures in it. Nature really doesn't care what happens within it, that man doesn't have a special place in the heart of nature. Man is just part of what nature is. And so he doesn't nature doesn't care or even know about him. However, man has a close bond with nature. And I think this is the idea. It needs not. So, sorry. Tell me not here. It needs not saying what tune the enchantress plays in the aftermaths of soft September. So the enchantress is nature, but notice it's not with a capital E. Yeah, he's not. Um, in a way, I suppose he's personifying her, nature. But you don't need to tell me what nature's like. You don't uh, need to tell me the tunes of nature. You don't need to tell me what a soft, beautiful September day is like. Or under blanching Mays. The May is the hawthorn, and it's got white flowers. So blanch is to blanch is white. So what it's like sitting under a beautiful white May tree. For she, nature, and I were long acquainted, and I knew all her ways. So nature, I know what nature's like. Yeah, nature is beautiful. Nature is something that's lovely. On russet floors by idle waters the pine lets fall its cone. So on red floors the pine cone falls. This is a carpet of leaves. The cuckoo shouts all day at nothing in leafy dells alone. So the cuckoo is there, cuckoo, cuckoo. But notice here, he's saying the cuckoo shouts at nothing in leafy dells alone. So this is the first hint that as animals, as creatures, we do our thing, we are part of nature. But nature isn't there for us. And traveller's joy beguiles in autumn hearts that have lost their own. Okay, traveller's joy is a type of clematis, and it's also, I think it's also called heart's ease, and that's why this line, hearts that have lost their own. So traveller's joy is something that looks beautiful while you are traveling. And this makes you feel better. Yeah, it puts your heart at ease, maybe for people who have fallen in love with someone else, and then maybe that person doesn't love them. So these are some of the beautiful things you can see in nature. You can see the red floor leaves all over the floor. You can see pine cones. You can hear the cuckoo. Yeah, you can see traveller's joy. On acres of the seeded grasses, the changing burnish heaves. So there are acres of grass which has dropped its own seeds, and you can see the changing burnish, the changing colours of the changing seasons, from the green of spring to the deeper colour of summer, to the reds and yellows of August. All marshalled under moons of harvest, stand still all night the sheaves. So the sheave is a sheave of corn. The harvester cuts the corn, and he makes it into a sheave which stands up to dry. And here we have this scene of the harvest moon, the moon shining down on the harvest. And the sheaves are in the field of stubble, the field where they've been cut, and the sheaves are standing, a beautiful sight. Or beeches strip in storms for winter and stain the wind with leaves. Or there's a storm and the beech trees, they're being stripped of their leaves in winter, and there are leaves everywhere in the wind. These are just more beautiful sights of nature. Possess, as I possess the season, the countries I resign, where over elmy plains the highway would mount the hills and shine. So we own nature. Nature is part of us. We are there. We go to these different places. We see all of these different things, and we see this country, and there are plains with elms, and the highway of life going through this. And this highway of life would go up the hills and shine, and full of shade the pillared forest would murmur and be mine. And then we have this forest of pillared trees, of high trees, and the forest is murmuring, is making its sound in the wind, and all of these things are mine. Nature is mine. I interact with nature, I enjoy nature, I enjoy all of these beautiful scenes. For nature, heartless, witless nature will neither know nor care what strangers' feet may find the meadow, and trespass there and go. But nature is heartless, nature doesn't care, nature doesn't know, nature's not interested in who walks on the meadow, who is part of nature. Nature doesn't ask the morning dew if these footsteps are mine. Nature doesn't care who is looking at it. So this is rather self-pitying, perhaps, that I love nature, but nature doesn't love me. Nature doesn't love us. Nature doesn't care. Nature's not interested in who we are or the things that happen. Yeah, we are just actors within its within the scene of nature. So tell me not here, it needs not saying, by A. E. Housman.